Welcome back for another week with me, Joe Reynolds. And this week, well, we're going to get into a really serious topic because, well, creating all this artwork and using this amazing tool to do amazing things like logos and thumbnails and all sorts of video editing and photo editing, well, we got to make sure that we don't get into trouble. And here's the reason why. When I ask people, where would you get a photo for your banner on YouTube? Or where would you get a photo to add to your presentation or project? A lot of people go, well, I just Google it and then go to Google Images and I just copy and I go, don't do that. Because at the end of the day, well, here's the problem. A lot of those images, in fact, most of them are copyrighted or have a special licensing or a special agreement or law that goes with them. And if you use different images that without the owner's permission, it can get you into a lot of trouble. In fact, just so you know, we're going to talk about the licensing stuff today, especially within Canva, because those are the images that we're using. But, I want to just talk about, first of all, this what happens when images are stolen. And this has happened to me actually many hundreds of times now. I have been on the internet running businesses for 20-30 years now, and I was the first person I know with a digital camera and started doing all my own photography because remember my first ever business I may have mentioned in a previous class was all about circus and big magicians and acrobats and stilt walkers and fire dancers, and this company I created called Flaming Fun. And well, I created all the photography and did all the different advertising photos of the shows and all the marketing of the pictures, and I did them all myself. And I put them on my website, and I've thousands, probably 2,000 photos I have on my website now of all the different acts and artists that I represent on my company, Flaming Fun. Now, during lockdown 2020, when we all got locked down, I sat there and I was bored and I was just looking around the internet for pictures of where my pictures were and kind of checking in to see what kind of people were using them. And I found that this website in Australia was using my photos without my agreement, without asking me. They weren't selling my costumes or my characters. They were using it to copy my stuff. And I wasn't very happy about it. And so I went and I found, I Googled, stolen images, and this company came up, CopyTrack. And CopyTrack is a company where they take, millions of images from their customers and they put it into this program that they've created. And this program will then go and look on the internet for every website, on every possible website there is on the internet, looking for your images. And so I signed up, and the deal is if they only make money if they win money from stolen images. So I'm like, well, I have nothing to lose really. So I uploaded my images, and I was amazed to find that there were over 4,000 hits, 4,000 unique pictures of mine being stolen from around the world, totaling to a potential 13,464 euros, which is it's about $12,000. And today, last year, they paid out about 5,000 euros, which is about $4,500 from stolen images. And they go out and they go, hey, you've been using our images without, Joe knowing. And in fact, here's two websites that have been using I created these living tables, they're called, and I created the costume, I took the photos, they're my models, and everything about these photos is mine. And so, what I did is I uploaded these photos, and it makes a digital fingerprint of that photo, and then goes and finds all the websites. So this website's using it at this web page and this domain. And I'm like, wait a minute, neither of these companies do I work with or work for. So I marked them illegal and I hit submit form. And then what it does is it goes off and the lawyers of that company will go and do all the legal research and check to see, if they've got a case. And if so, how much they got for it. And then they get 20% of the winnings. So you know what, they do well, I do well. My images are being protected legally by lawyers that are, out there hunting continuously for me and searching. So you can understand, you don't want to be the person whose images have been stolen like me. But even worse yet, you don't want to be the person stealing them who has a letter from a lawyer saying, hey, you owe us $930 or $1,000 for this image that you've used. That wouldn't be good, would it? So here's how you make sure you protect yourself. First, you need to understand what copyright is, because all videos and photos have copyright. Now, copyright is a legal concept that provides exclusive rights, okay, the rights to the creators of those original works, whoever made them, the author, such as books, like literary books, dramatic stuff, musicals, artistic, and certain other intellectual works. So anything musical, videos, all this kind of stuff. And these exclusive rights, well, they are there to stop people from reproducing, redistributing, and displaying these images illegally without the publishers know about. But the person who has those rights, they are allowed to reproduce it, to redistribute it, and to display it, and to perform the work publicly, and make derivative works, okay? So the copyright laws are designed to protect the rights of the creators and encourage the creation and distribution of the original works by providing these legal, structure to make sure that if you infringe on that, or you break the law, that you get in trouble, that there are rights there on. So copyright, it's ownership, it's legal, it's about copies and patents, and it's kind of all these words connected to the word copyright. But interestingly enough, I bet you've all seen these trademarks. These are copyright trademarks. Yeah, the C with the circle around it, or the R for registered, or TM, trademarked, right? And copyright laws are the rules that are there to protect the creators, the artists. And even though you might not see a copyright sign or a logo on something, doesn't mean it's not copyrighted. So don't just think it's because it's missing it. It's not copyrighted. Everything. In fact, examples of copyright. So an example of a copyrighted movie would be like The Shawshank Redemption, directed by Frank Darabont and starring Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman. That was released in 1994. Now, this movie is copyrighted and it's owned by Castle Rock Entertainment. And without any permission or licensing, it would be illegal to reproduce, distribute, or display the movie without permission. It's illegal. So I have no images of this movie because they're all copyrighted. So I put this copyright picture up instead. But you get my point, right? That movie would be illegal to copy. Okay, so copyright protection. Well, it will protect anyone's sound recording, broadcasts, your writing, typography, your literary works like writing a book or a story, articles, or musical, anything that you create musically, singing, or with an instrument, or films, photography, right? And there are many things that copyright will instantly, as soon as you create it, it's considered copyrighted, right? You are the owner and the author of that. Now, this ownership is very much you, the artist, the creator of that. You have that ownership, and you're allowed to have and apply the copyright laws. So if anyone else steals it, you can go, hey, look, I have the original. You're doing piracy. That's illegal. You're going against the copyright laws, and you can get a lawyer involved, and of course it can be bad news, right? And well, just so you know, copyright ownership can actually be passed down as well through inheritance, or it can be sold. I can sell this copyright ownership to someone else and let them be the owner of this artistic work. So, okay. So, and also copyright has a maximum life. Okay. So sometimes it's usually around, somewhere between 95 and 120 years old. Copyright no longer matters. It doesn't exist after 120 years. So there are some songs that are very old very olden type songs and images that are over 120 years old. Anyone can use those without copyright license now. They are outside the copyright duration law. So yeah, if you're interested, check out where you live, what country you are, because the duration time can change from country to country, location to location. And but it's usually it's around between 70 and 120 years. And in the US, the copyright term for works is anything after 1978, or the life of the author plus 70 years. So anything before is really kind of copyright free. But for works before 1978, the term can be different, and works published before 1923 are in the public domain. Now, let me explain what this public domain is, because this public domain is well, it's outside the copyright law, and it means that anyone can use it in the public. It's in the public's domain, and generally, the copyright owner only has the exclusive right to control the copyright, or that picture, that image, that video, that musical composition, whatever it is that they've created, right? But well, at the end of the day, this license, as I've mentioned, it has to be done a certain way, and it has to be enforced in a certain way, and people therefore have to obey it. But I mentioned this public domain. Well, this is where images that are outside that copyright law, they're very old images, or sometimes government images that are paid for by the taxpayers. These are public domain. So satellite images or NASA images. Here's some good examples of public domain. The migrant mother photograph. This is an old one. The Uncle Sam poster. Yeah, that's pretty old. The NASA moon landing, right? That was done by NASA, so that's owned by the people. And 1928, the Steamboat Willie with the old Mickey Mouse and the Walt Disney. This is now a public domain. It's so old that it's outside copyright law. So people can use all these images, which is why you see these images quite used very frequently, because no one has to pay a licensing fee or ask for permission to use it. Now, there's also another kind of Creative Commons license, which are a way of the creators to share their works with others while still maintaining control over their works. And while these are different types of Creative Commons licenses that exist, right? There's quite a lot of them, but this is how an artist can put photos on Canva, or they can put photos on Shutterstock, or any one of these photo sharing platforms, and still own them, but other people will be allowed to use them. These are called Creative Commons licenses. And really, without getting into much detail, there's kind of 6 main ones, and each one of these will have a different attribute or a different thing that makes it, this one's non-commercial, so businesses can't use this one, but these ones are, businesses can. And so different licenses will have different prices on it. But it's when you're looking at photos and you're needing to use it for something, it's good to check out the Creative Commons licenses. If you're not buying it from the artist or created them from the original, and you're not buying the whole ownership, but you're actually buying a license to use it instead, you need to watch out, okay? So now this fair use, there's a fair use copyright license, and this fair use is a rule that lets people use certain parts of some image or a video or some music, and that is already copyrighted, like a book or some song, without asking permission. But there is a rule that this can only be done for things like writing a book report, or making a video for a school project, or doing research for something. Okay. And it's only okay to use a small part of the work. And it's really important, it can't hurt the person who owns the copyright. So if you break any of those rules, you're in trouble still. But if you follow those rules, it means you can use bits for your presentation or for some educational research. Okay. So this fair use, now this rule lets people use certain parts of copyrighted images, like I've explained. And well, there are lots of examples on the internet where a YouTuber will have a little bit of a video and laugh, or review it, or do something, and that's really that's fair use. That's allowed, as long as they're not completely copying the whole video and saying that's theirs, right? But it's about how they used it. Now, if you do get caught using photos and videos and images or text or music from someone else that you've just copied off of Google, then this becomes a copyright infringement. And you'll probably get a letter from the lawyer and from the owner, from the artist or the person who created it. And you'll get this thing called a copyright notice. Now, a copyright notice is pretty much a message that tells the people who's breaking the rules. Hey, you're breaking the rules. You can either pay us some money as a fee for using it and stop using it, and you won't get in trouble. Or if you don't pay us the fee, then we'll take you to court, and it will become bigger, and you'll end up paying more, and it become a real law case, and it becomes very expensive. So most people just pay the fee and stop using the photo, which is kind of what the artist wants anyway. That's kind of what I want for all my photos. I just want you to stop using them, and I just want you to pay for what you've taken from me. You've stolen from me. So, this copyright registration now, you don't actually have to register anything to copyright. If you do a drawing or a song, or you create a book or some, paragraph or a news article, or, you create some photo or video. Well, you don't have to register it anywhere. You just have to have a copy of it on the day that you made it as evidence. And there are ways of registering it in some places, but all they're doing is just taking a copy of what you have and putting a date stamp on it and saying, hey, this person created this on this day. If anyone copies it, we know who was first. But you could have that on your hard drive, just as good evidence as anything else. So really, you don't really need to register. At the end of the day, it's just as long as you have evidence of when it was created. Now, there is this company, this group, this DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright Act, and they're like the internet police for copyright infringement. And they will often create lawsuits and file and take down notices and send notices of copyright infringement to people who are really breaking the law and really going against the grain, if you will. And the enforcement, well, they can use legal action and lawsuits, and it can be on your file, and it's not great, right? So you really don't want this. This is not a great thing at all. So be careful with your copyrighted videos, and be careful with your copyrighted photos. Remember, when in doubt, don't use it. And if you can, always go down and get permission. If you decide you really must use something, just ask permission. Go find the email of the artist. Go find the author of that creation, and you can either ask for permission, or maybe they'll say, hey, we're not going to give it to you for free, but you can buy a license from us to use it. Or there are certain Creative Commons licenses which they might offer, which will allow the creator to go, okay, here, you can use it for this amount of time. But using copyright photos in Canva projects, you need to be really careful, because if it's being used and if you get caught, it could cost you a lot of money. Remember, when in doubt, don't do it. And when you have the ability and you want to use that image, get permission, because otherwise it could be a legal action. And that's the last thing you need, is a letter from a lawyer saying, hey, now you're in trouble because you didn't go through the right steps, you didn't get permission, you didn't find the right licenses, and now you're in trouble. So always check the terms of the license as well, because some of them may be for use for commercial stuff, other ones might just be for projects and things like that. But, finding legal videos and photos on Canva, well, this is great, because there are many, many, many websites now that are copyright-free websites, like Canva and Pixabay and Unsplash and Pexels and Vimeo. These are all websites where you can find free Creative Commons videos and photos and stock footage for free. I mean, there's tons of them. So I've got like the top best ones up there for you guys to check out. So whenever you want to use a photo or a video or something, go to one of those websites. Don't just go to Google and just look up a photo and steal one and get in trouble. Go to one of these websites where you won't get in trouble for using them, because they will be licensed and you'll be allowed to for free. How cool is that, right? That's just because the artists are like, here's a gift to the world. Hope you guys had some fun with it. So also a really good habit is to give credit. When you're using a photo that isn't yours or a video that isn't yours, giving credit. And this is an example, digital image on the web with this title in this location by this name on this date. And here's the original location of this file. This will allow that artist, the creator, to get credit for it. And if someone wants to go and see more of their stuff, they'll be able to. And that's a really, really nice thing to do, right? It's a really great way of giving back to the artist. And even if you use Pixel these stock free websites which I just showed you, even in Canva, they'll always have the author's or the creator's name in the information. And so giving a caption that says created by, or video by, or some credit. It's a really lovely thing to do, right? So I think we're coming towards the end of today now. Conclusion, copyright registration is not required for copyright protection, but it can provide legal benefits in case of copyright infringement. But like I said, if you have evidence, you're good. Copyright owners can enforce their rights through lawsuits or by contracting infringing parties directly, like I do with CopyTrack, that website. Using copyright videos and photos in Canva projects without permission or a valid exception is a copyright infringement and can result in legal consequences such as fines, injunctions, and damages. Don't do it. Okay, we covered it. Good. All right, number 4, to obtain permission to use copyright videos and photos, you can contact the owner or purchase a license. Both will, make sure that you get that permission. And to find legal videos and photos to use in Canva projects, you can use the Creative Commons license list, license with the free videos and the free photos that you can find, or from the public domain, which are all on Canva, right? All those ones that you can use for free, those are, royalty free. And remember, it's really good to give credit to the creator of the videos and the photos used in your Canva projects, because it's important, because it's actually a requirement in many licenses. And in a way, it's a way of showing respect for the creator's work, right? It helps build trust with you and the audience. And well, that's a good thing too. All right, guys. So, this is a list of the resources that I showed you today where you can get free photos and videos and royalty free without the copyright worry. So check those out if you're looking for them. And finally, just a little bit of homework for you to enjoy for next week. So check out that homework. And if you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, please just send me a message. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.